Let's get to the firestorm you woke up to this morning. There was a quote in the New York Post. It was the headline that said, TJ Lang says that Packers QB Aaron Rodgers is
hell-bent on revenge against the Packers front office.
Okay, incredible quote, by the way. Anytime you can work in hell-bent and revenge crafted. How did that happen? When did you say it? I assume this potentially got taken out of context.
Well, it kind of got taken out of context, but if I was talking to you, Pat, on your show, and I said, hey, A-Rod's hell-bent on revenge, we would laugh about it, right? When you're doing a more serious show, obviously, they take it in a more serious manner. I should have known that. That was my bad. But no, we were talking, and the whole interview was this Detroit sports media. We were talking about the Lions, Goff, Stafford, all that stuff. Last 30 seconds was, give us your thought on Aaron Rodgers. And my thought kind of came down to, well, you've been hearing a lot of smoke the last couple weeks now about possible trades, restructure, whatever. I think there's a little bit of smoke there. But in my opinion, the way that quarterbacks are kind of handling their business, especially the last 2 weeks, when you look at Deshaun Watson, you look at Matthew Stafford, a couple other guys talking about maybe trying to force their way out. I think these guys understand what kind of power they have now. But with the Aaron Rodgers situation, I go back to really two quarterbacks, Pat, and it's Jordan Love last year, Tom Brady this year, right? You don't think that Aaron Rodgers took notice of what Tom Brady did this year going to Tampa and saying, you know what, I don't care if we have Mike Evans. I don't care we have Chris Godwin. You're going to go out, you're going to get me Gronk, you're going to get me AB, and we're going to make a run at this thing. I think guys kind of took notice of that. And in my opinion, it was just crazy just thinking, last year, draft time, Aaron was on your show, right, talking about the weapons that he could take. Right,
denim jacket, slicked back hair, very comfortable, good beard, talking about maybe we get a guy, maybe we trade it. He was giving out some ideas. Yeah, he really was, in a very deep wide receiver class.
Very excited, I think he was, about the opportunity to maybe get another weapon to work with. They trade up and take a quarterback. In my mind, I think if you're Aaron Rodgers, I kind of think that was a little bit of a slap in the face. I kind of think that was some sort of a public humiliation almost. Not on purpose, but if you're him, how else to take that?
Whoa, TJ. He did tell us that, I don't know if it was that moment or whatever, but he was talking about how his entire mindset changed, that he no longer is in control of his future, and that it's no longer what happens, it's how I react. And it actually, I think he potentially from this, or maybe even before this situation, had this realization about how he would frame it in his mind, about how it doesn't matter anything else, I just got to react and do my thing. Because I did ask him directly, hey, is this a spite store? Hey, are we on a spite year or whatever? And he actually flipped the script completely on that thing. But there had to be a moment where he thought, well, what is this about? There had to be that moment. I agree. There had to be.
Yeah, and I don't think it would. I don't think it carried him this year, and it made him say, you know what, I'm going to show them wrong. I'm going to go out and win the MVP. But I do think there was probably a small part of him that said, wow, they took a quarterback. Wow, we're one piece away from maybe getting past the NFC Championship game. He probably had that moment. Now, I'm not saying it drove everything. It was his complete motivation. But then he goes out this year, has a season that he has 48 touchdowns, MVP year. I think part of the chip on his shoulder this year is going to be, you know what, we still failed to get back to the Super Bowl. Hey, there's Jordan Love sitting behind me. I don't know what their plans are. I think he was very honest after that loss, to Tom Brady and Tampa Bay, where he said, I don't know what my future is going to hold. I think that was 100% honesty. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but I think he understands that he has the leverage right now to say, you know what, if I'm going to be here for, let's say, another 2 years, you're gonna guarantee my 2 years, and you're gonna do something like what Tom Brady did in Tampa Bay. You're gonna go get me a couple extra players. I got to win another Super Bowl before I move on from Green Bay.
Okay, so you. By the way, I think a lot of people think that that's potentially going to happen, right? I don't think that is anything. But you don't believe that he's going to be hell-bent on revenge. That was whenever you start linking those words together, it's and especially because you played there and you know him, I think people start going oh, okay, so here's a guy who can speak from potentially knowing him rather well, right? I would think. And then he's hell-bent on revenge. That's why it got so big. And that's what you were referring to earlier, I think.
Yeah, that was probably a little strong to say. I don't think he's going to be hell-bent on revenge per se, but I do think that this is going to be a year where he's going to say, you know what, we're going all in. And I think, honestly, playing with him for 8 years and being in Green Bay, we had a lot of teams that were really good. One year we had all of our running backs get hurt, and we're sitting there talking in the locker room saying, wow, man, let's go trade for a guy, or let's go pick up this guy on that's a free agent right now. And they moved a wide receiver to running back. And it was Ty Montgomery, and he did a nice job for what he was asked to do, but it was kind of that symbolism where it's like, man, we can't just go all in. We're so close, and I think that's really what he's wanted his entire career. I think right now, revenge probably isn't the right word for it, Pat, but to go up there and maybe pound his fist and say, you know what, I did everything you guys asked. I bought into the system. I'm doing everything Matt LaFleur wants me to. We had a great year. We're still a piece away. You're going to give me that piece this year. We're not messing around like 20 draft where we're taking quarterbacks. We're getting pieces, whether it's free agency, Allen Robinson, Godwin type of player, or maybe some young guys coming in. I think this is going to be the year where he says, you know what, Tom Brady did it. You guys are going to do it for me.
I'll be fascinated to see if that's how this whole thing plays out. And by the way, I think everybody would be like, that's a very fair thing for Aaron to do. But after getting a chance to chat with him now for like a year or whatever, and learn a lot about him, I would love to be in the room whenever he's laying out that picture.
Yeah.
When he's painting the picture of I would love to be there just to potentially listen to how, because I don't think he'd be very aggressive, right? It doesn't sound like that. I don't think it would be like a very good picture, and this is what we're going to do. And then
he's going to go along. I mean, he's going to go about it the right way. You even heard him talk. I think he was talking to you maybe last week when he said, I'm going to hang around town for a little bit. There's conversations I need to have with some people.
He said, I have those every year. He said, but I'll definitely have them this year or whatever. He did say, I'm going to go have that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, my biggest point was basically saying, I think this is going to be the year where he just pounds his fist privately, right, and just kind of demands, you know what, guys, I've done everything you asked for me. You got to do me a favor now. Because, look, is he going to be there in 2 or 3 years from now? Who knows? I don't think he even knows. He's definitely going to be there next year. There's no way they're going to trade him. But that's probably going to be a private conversation he has. And the good part is we don't have to wait too long to find out what's going to happen. Free agency isn't too long away, and draft is, it's going to come by pretty quick. So whatever happens, I think if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're Green Bay Packers fans, it's going to be awesome to be a part of that, because your team now is finally going to go all in and try to win that Super Bowl.
I hope they do. Did you see TJ Lang? We talked to TJ. You know TJ very well, obviously, for your time in Green Bay. He woke up to just headlines all over the place for what he talked about for Aaron Rodgers' situation.
So I didn't see him on here, but I do know that I read his tweet and I saw them talking about it on some of the shows earlier today. What he laid out sounded about right. Like, it sounded like it kind of made sense, didn't it?
Well, what he said to us was basically what he thinks should happen, could happen, will happen. I don't know which one of those three he thought it would. But yeah, it's basically Aaron saying, we're going all in here. Let's give me a little bit more money. And I think his verbiage of using hellbent on revenge is what really caught some people's eyes. I don't think that's how Aaron would broach the entire thing, but I do believe that is something a lot of people think is very, like, yeah, he should potentially go do that. Like, he should go ask them, hey, let's make a couple decisions here to potentially go all and win this thing. And TJ ended our conversation with him basically saying, like, Aaron needs another one. Like, he's bummed about Aaron not winning. He said in 14 and 16, it was heartbreaking. Then obviously the last two. And he said for his legacy, he hopes he gets a couple more. But to do that, he is saying that the team is going to have to go all in and do what they got to do. And I'm excited to see what move they make, because you look at everybody else that was at the top of the entire offense, or the top of the end of the mountain almost. Everybody else kind of went all in. They're like, hey, this is our team. We're going for this thing. Except for the Packers. And he said they never will, though. It feels like they'll never will. And that's kind of what Ty has been saying, too, about that's not the way the Packers go. And TJ referenced whenever Ty Montgomery moved from wide receiver to running back, his 5 running backs got hurt. And instead of trading for a running back, they were like, we'll just move. And he was good, by the way. He went on to be a running back. Yeah. But there was no thought of, like, trading for anybody. Is that kind of just known over there? Like, hey, there's a way of doing things over here at the Packers, and this is how it is?
Well, they're definitely the previous GM, Ted Thompson, who, RIP, obviously, he died recently. That was his kind of thing, I guess. His MO seemed to kind of build through the draft and do that kind of thing. But my first year, he brought in Charles Woodson. That's a heck of a free agent acquisition, I would say. So he would do that. Like a Charles, we went out and got Julius Peppers, who was awesome for a little while there too. So yeah, it's not like really exactly what they do, but also it's there's a new crew in town too, up in the front office. So let's see what those guys do. There's no one stopping him. I think if they want to go make a move.